So now let's move on to full combos. And what constitutes a full combo is basically getting launched in the air or bounced off the ground, juggled for a little bit, and then use your tailspin to keep the combo going, and then you finish it up at the end. Potentially you kick them towards the wall and you can hit them at the wall as well. These are combos that have the full path. Everything you can get is in there. So from launcher to screw attack to wall carry. We'll cover all of that now, but I want to cover it in pieces. Learn your list of launchers. These are all the moves that cause a bounce, launcher, stun, whatever. And then what moves you're going to see in combos and how to use them correctly. So let's start off with just normal hit launchers. No counter hit, no special properties. You get hit, it's a launch. First off is down forward 2 and up forward 3. These are pretty indispensable. Most characters have these tools for the most part. Do note Lili's down forward 2 is only 16 frames and not 15, but it does a teeny bit more damage. Combos are the same, so if you know you have the situation, this one is preferred, but not by a lot. Down forward 3+4, this round off flip. This is a natural launcher. Lots of ways to combo off of this because it leaves her back turn. There's tons of choices. Straight down 3+4 is Matterhorn Ascension. This is a launcher to be sure, but it's one that you basically don't ever want to use. It's like minus 27 or something on block. People are going to just destroy you for this, but it is very evasive. You can see how low to the ground she goes. She goes underneath tons of stuff. And even toward the end, when she's on one hand, there's several frames there where she's airborne and she goes over lows. So this can actually rob a lot of people, right? They can be attacking you and this will just blow up right through it sometimes. But it's such an unreliable thing to go for. You will get punished hard for doing it. It also exists at the end of up forward 3+4, like that. Down back 4 is the same thing. Edelweiss is one of the worst snake edges in the game. Super duper slow. The only time you're ever going to hit somebody with this is if they happen to like commit to a move that Lili goes underneath. Otherwise, you're not going to get away with this. But it's there, so it's worth mentioning. It's in the list. Next up, couple acrobatic flip launchers. Lili's up 3 has several ways to do it too. You can just do up 3 by itself with nothing else and still get a combo from there. You can do up 3-3, which follows up with a second hit and still gets the combo. Slightly different path and all of that. So either way works, you'll get a combo on normal hit. Up 3+4, she jumps in the air, and if she lands on your shoulders at just the right distance, like you can miss entirely, you can clip them like that, but if you land in close, you get a combo for your effort. Little tricky combo because they're backwards and upside down and all that, but it is safe on block, and it's kind of a cool thing if you get just the right opportunity to use it. If they're running up and they land right under you, it can actually work pretty well. Forward 2. Lili was blessed with one of the only armored launchers in the game. Most power crushes just lead to a knockdown and some damage, and all the mids are slightly punishable because of that. Well, Lili's gets her a whole combo, and consequently is launch punishable itself. So there's only a handful of characters that have these. Her, Miguel, Negan, Zafina, I want to say. Not a lot. Forward 3. This is new to Season 4 from old games, but has been brought back. You can now get a direct combo off of this move on normal hit. And you can also continue this move into Do Glide and get combos that way, but it can be a little tricky. You got to learn how to do it, which we'll go over later on. So forward 3 on normal hit is a launcher, but it's minus 12 if you stop and do nothing. And if you continue into Do Glide and sidestep cancel, you can stay safe. So you got to learn how to differentiate between those two. Back turn stance. We got 2 launchers here. We got 1+2. She can pick up a little duck jab into a combo. This is a practically safe mid launcher. And she has up forward 4 from back turn, which is definitely not safe, but a pretty practical launcher on its own. It's very, very fast. It's a hop kick that beats lows. This is a pretty good option to have all around. And the last 2 natural hit launchers to consider are from Crouch. Her while standing 2 is a much higher arc than the down forward 2, even though it looks like it's the exact same move. This is actually a different launch trajectory, so you can get a bigger combo off her while standing 2. But again, 16 frames instead of 15. While standing 3 is also a natural launcher, a little bit slower. You're not going to end up using this too much. While standing 2 is there and ready to go, but it does exist. So those are all the moves that give you a full combo path on normal hit. So let's take a look at counter hit. So she has a few that do a pretty good job and some that are totally useless. Let's first take a look at moves that cause an automatic screw attack, such as forward 3. When that lands as a counter hit, automatic screw attack. Nothing you can do. Down back 3 is the same thing, as is back turned 2. When you land that counter hit, they get into screw attack right away. So you got to change up your combo a little bit. Some other counter hits she gets from down forward 3. This is a really good move to use in your pressure game because it's plus, forces the crouch and everything. And if they do challenge it, you can get a combo from it. Very good move. Now added to the list is forward 4. This move now becomes a counter hit launcher from downtown. Only problem is no tracking. This will get sidestepped easily, but this is such a good keep off me tool that getting a counter hit launcher from it now is just absolutely wonderful. It's not the best move in the world. It's relatively fast. It's 17 frames, I think, which is decent. Makes it one of her faster counter hit launchers. Obviously, there's characters with like 11 frame magic 4s. Lili does not have that. But this is still a pretty good keep out tool from a nice range. So remember this one. Forward 4 and counter hit is really, really good. Her do glide 1-2. If they get counter hit by the second hit alone, you get the same crumple stun. You get a launcher from that. But not if the first 2 hit, it's not the same thing. You have to get the second hit by itself, which is good because of her ability to cancel. She can cancel that second hit, which invites people to try to blow them up. And if she doesn't actually cancel and lets it rip, counter hit launcher. Kind of hard to set up, but it is there. It does happen from time to time if you catch someone being greedy. Sidestep 1+2. Weird little crumple stun. If you're going to sidestep somebody and still get a counter hit, that's a little situational, but it's there. If you happen to just do a quick sidestep in that and blow up a string, it can work. It's definitely possible. Some less practical counter hits, down back 3+4. Most people are going to block this. It's relatively slow. Most people will see it, block it on reaction, and you're in trouble. But it can go under jabs. It can blow up an attack if they're already in the middle of it. It's possible. You're not going to have an easy time like trying to anticipate jabs and do this, but it can happen randomly sometimes. If you do this at a good spot, you might just catch them approaching you and stuff them in their feet real quick. The same is true for full crouch down forward 3. This is basically the same idea. It's a high crushing low into the feet that on counter hit gets you a combo. If you happen to blow up a high attempt from them, you can get a combo from it. It exists. This is much, much better now. In the last patch, they made it so this actually goes under jabs. In many situations, this will high crush an immediate jab where it didn't before. If you do it like this, for example, it used to lose the jabs, and now it does not. So if they just did like a 1-1-2 string in the middle of this, they'll get counter hit launched for it. So that's kind of a big improvement. It's not great, but it's much, much better than it was. And lastly, the one that you're just never going to hit people with unless they're getting super greedy or just make a mistake is while standing 1-2-4. That third hit alone is the counter hit. What's there for is if you do while standing 2 and screw it up, they're ready to duck that second hit. They can duck that second hit and get ready to hop kick you afterward. The goal here is if they did something slower than a hop kick, that might hit them before they get off the ground. Tough situation, but if it does work out right, if they try to punish this, you might catch a counter hit right there. But that's about it. There's no other way to really use that. So counter hit wise, forward 3 is decent for just being a single hit because it's homing, but it's got terrible range. Forward 4 is excellent. Solves that range problem, but sacrifices tracking. And down forward 3, you're going to use in your pressure. That's pretty much it. Those are the only counter hits you're really ever going to get from this character. She doesn't do that a lot. They're not fast, but they do have some decent range and some decent utility. This character is based on utility more than she is on speed, which I think shows up in a lot of things. So that's the bulk of her counter hits. Actually, that's all of her counter hits that I'm aware of. Some pretty good, some completely useless, but that's par for the course with everybody. So let's look at combo tools, the moves that go into building your entire combo from beginning to end. I want to just talk about it in kind of like sections. The moves, like once you get them in the air, once you see you have your launch, what are the first things that you do? And these are usually dependent on the launcher you hit them with. Most of the time, their angle or their bounce or whatever requires you to use certain moves. So I want to go over those, and then the screw attack that extends your combo is usually dependent on, you know, how many hits you have or distances and stuff like that. And then your combo enders finish everything. So there's basically 3 phases, right? The launch, the juggle, then the screw attack that ends the juggle, and then you can end it whatever you need to at the time. So as far as basic combo tools, the first things you're going to do, forward 2-3 shows up a lot. Does a nice chunk of damage, has good wall carry in the combos that it's used. It just, again, it depends on which ones it comes out of. You can do it off of moves like that. Forward 2-3 shows up a lot. Sometimes not even as the first hit. You can even get another hit in before doing moves like that. Again, depending on the launcher, and we'll cover all of these in detail later. You'll see every combo possibility you have with these. But I just want you to learn how they work. If you have an airborne combo, forward 2-3 works pretty well. Next up would be down forward 2. This is really good all around in combo stuff, because it would be good for catching random floats. If someone is like an Eddie player or Ling or something like that, and they're on the ground at your feet a lot, this can tend to float them in weird situations. And once they're up in the air, then you get a combo from that point. So down forward 2 is very versatile at doing that. And you'll see a basic combo structure that'll have, once they're in the air, you can do that, and then something like 4-1. That's a pretty simple combo path. Usually a little bit easier to do than the forward 2-3 stuff, because you can see forward 2-3 punch them way in the air, so you got to deal with that distance. It's not the easiest combo path, but I think this is. Down forward 2 and then 4-1 is your combo opener. That's the easiest one. So I think the next tool that really is worth mentioning is Narcissus. The forward 3 and its ability to go forward into do glide. You'll see that right here. You'll see that off forward 2-3 because of the distance. She punches you into the air, and you can do Narcissus and then continue your combo there, because forward 3 covers excellent range and hits pretty low to the ground. So those are your basic combo openers. Little variations here and there. Down forward 2, sometimes you can stick it in. 4-1 is good for straight to the ground combos. Forward 2-3 is good for high in the air combos. So screw attacks. Couple of different ones you're going to see. But again, it depends on the combo that you're used to and which one works. Down 1-2-4 is really only required from this combo. The full crouch slide, you have to use down 1-2-4 there, as far as I'm aware. Down 1-2-4 to pick that up. No other combo requires this string. However, on a lot of like crumple stun combos, this actually works pretty universal. You can do this off a lot of things. Down 1-2-4 is actually very good in some cases, but you're not going to need it once you learn everything else. It's just worth mentioning as a go-to. If you forget exactly what the combo is off of this, down 1-2-4 is a good bet. Since forward 2-3 is generally preferred because it's the higher damage, and we talked about how Narcissus is a good way to pick that up, the screw attack from that is just do glide 3+4. You do forward 3, and you hold forward, goes automatically into do glide, and then 3+4. That gets you your screw attack. This has been a bread and butter combo for a long time. Being able to just do that works super duper well. So you're going to see that a lot. Narcissus into do glide 3+4 is a very, very common screw attack. New in season 4 now, there's a slightly different way to do this. You can now use the down forward 3+4 a lot more reliably like you could in Tag 2. You used to do this in Tag 2 all the time in combos. Now it just hasn't been as good. Like, that would been kind of a weak option. They gave her something new. So now you can do this back turned and then 1-4. That gets you the damage back you were missing previously. So a lot of combos that'll punch you into the air with this, you can now do round off and then 1-4 as your screw attack. This is going to be used in your higher damage B&B combos, but doesn't always work because it requires pretty good height off the ground. And lastly, the most staple version of it is down 2-2-3. This would be the easy version that pairs with your 4-1 opener. Just like that. Can't get any easier than that. Those are the easiest combos, and sometimes they're the best. If you don't have the trajectory for this forward 2-3 stuff, that would be the best. This would be what you go for, and it's super duper easy. So those are your screw attacks. Narcissus into 3+4, down 2-2-3, and then your round off 1-4. That's all you need. So those are your launchers, your combo juggles, and how you screw attack. Once you've gotten the screw attack, 99% of the time, you're going to just do Narcissus again into do glide 1-2. That's it. That's most of them. Forward 3, hold your forward, and then just do 1-2. That's most of your combos are covered by that. Tends to cover the distance pretty well. Sufficient enough wall carry to just do that. The next best version of it is to use heliotrope in the same way. You do back to 1 and hold forward into do glide. The only problem with this is it can be a little bit tricky, especially on the player 1 side. Because if you notice, if I keep hitting her with it, how off axis I'm getting. This move Lili takes this little like side step to her left, I guess it is. And when you get to the end of a combo, you'll do this part and the last 2 hits will whiff. It can be a little bit tricky. So you can only do this if you have 6 hits or fewer, and it can be kind of hard. Forward 3 into do glide ender is perfect, but if you have like 1 hit left over, you can do the back to 1 version of it and squeeze a little bit more damage up, but it's harder to do. Another cool way to end combos is with this round off. Because this will break floors if you haven't done so yet, you can drop this right on top of them, and if they're kind of close, you still have some Oki options. You can flip at them again, keep chasing them that way. But it's mostly for the variation in ways you can finish it off. You can sometimes end combos with that and just get wall carry that way. You can end combos with this and get some more damage, or you can just stop in front of them and try to Oki them that way. Another interesting use is the wall carry, is if this is your last hit, and you can flip on them, and that gets you the rest of the way to the wall, and you can do this, for example. Really good stuff there. So down forward 3 plus 4 is kind of like a utility combo ender. Depending on if you can do a floor break or wall carry or whatever, this can get you some extra cool stuff instead of just the basics. So those are your combo tools. That's how combos work for this character. Once you get familiar with them and what order they go in, it all starts to come out pretty naturally. Rather than you just learning a sequence, you learn which ones go with which. Like, okay, I know this one. When I'm fishing for this move, I can do forward 2, 3. And then forward 2, 3, you know automatically every time you do that in a combo, you can do Narcissus to that, right? That's what you're going to come with automatically. So I'm going to show you what might not necessarily be the max damage combos, because there's always a way to squeeze more with some ultra execution. But what I'll show you are pretty much the most optimized combos that are easy enough to do. They should work on every character in the game, minus some weird bear stuff here and there. They should be pretty universal. Easy enough to do that once you practice some of the techniques, they're not going to be too much of a problem for you. And sometimes you'll get a little bit of extra stuff. Rather than just like the basic 4-1, over and over again, you can add a little spice. So I'm going to show you what spice goes where on top of the building blocks. So once you learn how combos work, you can add enough spice just to get the taste how you want it that way.